right, so let's talk a little bit about why lying on a flat surface like the floor or even a massage table might be uncomfortable for you, as it is for a lot of people. So referring back to the previous video about the spine and the rigidity and the stiffness that happens in the thoracic part of the spine, we'll begin there as one factor. So if we lay this on the floor, and already you're going to see that 3 points of contact are going to be the middle of the thoracic spine, the sacrum, which is this triangular piece of bone here between the two halves of the pelvis, and then the back of the head here. So this is just a part of the skull, but this is the base of the cranium here. So depending on what's going on in this section of the spine, both in its inflexibility as well as its shape, its amount of curvature is going to determine what's going on with the low back as well as the neck. And so on the neck end of things, if you have a lot of head forward posture, as well as a lot of attendant neck curvature as well, what we call hyperlordosis, both of these things might make it difficult or even uncomfortable to just bring your head comfortably to the same surface as the middle of the back. And it's not just a matter of the head touching the floor, but which part of the head. So if you have a lot of curvature here, if you have a lot of restriction in between the base of the skull and the first two cervical vertebrae, because there's 6 muscles in there that can get very hyper shortened, it might make it difficult to have the chin come down. So then in order to get the back of your head onto the table might require a lot of arching up. So that's one thing to consider. Then on the other end, this inability, this inflexibility in the spine might also be hiking up the curve in the lumbar spine, which can be not only uncomfortable in itself, but can also set you up for injuries in terms of any kind of spinal rolling or twisting or moves that are going to move your pelvis relative to the rest of your body because of the change in direction here. We'll get into that later possibly, but just suffice it to say, if you're lying on the floor and you start to get uncomfortable on your back, some of it can be coming from this rigidity in the spine, and some of it can also be coming from very tight hip flexors, particularly the psoas muscles. So the psoas muscles are 2 very large and deep muscles that attach at either side of the spine at the 5 lumbar vertebrae. So there's an attachment at each point here as well as at the disc site. So there are 2 really big muscle groups that come behind all of the organs here. They converge in a little tendon that come over the lip of the pelvis at the bottom, and they attach to the inner thigh. So they are a relationship between your lower spine and your leg. And when we're in sitting positions for a long time, those muscles adapt to being a bit shortened. So even when we are standing, and in particular if you're lying down, because all of your parts are along the same surface, if there's pull in that position, if there's pull in the psoas muscles, they're either going to tug on one or more of your vertebrae, or they're going to pull the leg up slightly, which is why it's often much more comfortable for people to have a bolster under their knees when they're lying down, because it puts some slack into this muscle. So that's the first thing. So again, coming back to, and these 2 things can happen together. It's not really a chicken or the egg scenario. They often develop together. But just to notice your comfort level with lying flat on a surface might have a lot to do again with this rigidity, and we're going to play with that a little bit.